Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing the Gigabyte 4080 Gaming OC that I got as an open box deal from Best Buy for hundreds less than it would have otherwise cost me, brand new. This was my final upgrade from my Gigabyte RTX 2060 Super OC, which I had bought back in 2019. The reason I say final upgrade is because I originally upgraded to a 7900 XTX, specifically the XFX Speedster Merc 310 model. I ended up having issues with VR performance and the amount of heat it dissipated because of its power draw. The card itself didn't run hotter than 64 degrees Celsius while gaming, but it put out a lot of heat. For this 4080 review, I'll be going over the following: why I bought the 4080, the price, whether or not open box is worth it, installation, performance, my experience and issues, and lastly my final thoughts. Now let's get started with why I bought it. I bought this 4080 because I was able to get it for $84.52 less than my 7900 XTX and $290 less than it would have cost if I had bought it brand new, and this is all including tax. I knew that the 4080 wouldn't have VR performance issues, and from past experiences, I knew that Nvidia cards are typically more stable and more power efficient. Now that you know why I bought it, let's go over price. Typically this card retails for $1269.99, and unlike the AMD cards, I haven't seen it go any lower. Like I said, I got this card as an open box deal. It was, however, untouched, and I'm not sure why someone bought it and returned it. Maybe they were waiting to see if they could get their hands on a 4090 for MSRP.
Buy the computer, return the computer, wait 1 week, open box discount. Is that even legal?
Installing the 4080 was actually less of a hassle compared to the 7900 XTX because of the way the anti-sag bracket is designed. It screws into your case through a couple of motherboard screw holes, and it seems relatively sturdy, although I observed that my card still sags about 1/8 of an inch, which I guess isn't too bad. The card is really big and it actually stuck out with the included 12-pin adapter cable. I had to buy an aftermarket 12-pin cable so that I could more easily bend the cable and close my side panel. Although it does slightly bend the connection, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. There are also other aftermarket options that make for a better solution, as they are easier to bend and don't bend the actual connection port, and maybe I should have learned of them before buying this one. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not the bend in the connector is okay for the long term. If you have any experience with this type of thing, comment below and let me know what you think. I could always purchase one of the better options, although admittedly they are more expensive. Now let's talk about performance. This card actually performs better than my 7900 XTX in Modern Warfare 2, and this was really surprising. According to all of the benchmarks I've seen so far, AMD cards outperform their Nvidia counterparts in Modern Warfare 2 by a lot. My tests are definitely an outlier. I was able to get 261 FPS on the MW2 benchmark using AMD FSR 1.0 and the following settings. Compare this to 243 FPS on my 7900 XTX with the exact same settings and the fact that the 4080 was 10 degrees Celsius cooler, and I'm really confused. I also tested Forza Horizon 5, and while I forgot to take screenshots of the XTX's performance, they were pretty much neck and neck. Here are some screenshots of benchmarks by Hardware Unboxed in their 50 game benchmark comparison. You can see the two GPUs are neck and neck in most games, and each has their own set of games that they run better. It really boils down to which games you play and what settings, with ray tracing being way better on the 4080. From my experience, the 4080 delivers a much smoother experience while staying much cooler. The fans are probably just as loud as the XTX, both with the stock fan curve, but with noise cancelling headphones and a decently loud game, they're hardly noticeable. The 7900 XTX, however, did have a bit of coil whine, but again, it wasn't noticeable once you're gaming with headphones on. The 4080's VR performance is really good, and it's night and day difference from my experience on the 7900 XTX. It runs VR way smoother than the XTX with no issues and ultra settings. It really is great. I also have to mention that I run a triple monitor setup and it handles it and VR with no problems. So far my experience with the 4080 has been very good. I haven't had any issues besides the actual size of the card during installation. The drivers run really smooth and the games that I've played so far run amazing, even Star Citizen. The card runs really cool and the highest temps I've seen have been in the high 50s. The 4080 doesn't feel like it heats up my room as much as the 7900 XTX, but of course it definitely still does raise the temps a lot in my room. Anyway, let's get to my final thoughts. Since I'm a cheap person, I'm really glad I got this card as an open box deal, because otherwise I might have stuck with the 7900 XTX and just dealt with the issues until they were fixed. That is, if they ever were fixed. I'm not sure they can fix VR performance on that thing. The 4080 is a great card at the price that I got it for, although I'm not sure I could recommend it for its MSRP to most people. I'd say if you spend a lot of time doing normal gaming without ray tracing, no VR, some editing, recording, and or streaming, then get the 7900 XTX. It's just overall better bang for your buck. It's a beast at rasterization and it has no issues recording, streaming, or editing. Just be careful of using something like Streamlabs OBS because in general that seems to be less stable from my experience. If you like to play games with ray tracing, VR, and use productivity apps like Blender or do some really professional editing, and price doesn't matter as much to you, then I'd recommend the 4080. If you're still on the fence and can wait a few months, then maybe that's the best thing to do, as we're already seeing price drops for cards like the 7900 XT and even the XTX, although only slightly. Will the 4080 ever drop in price? Maybe, maybe not. The truth is the types of people that would buy these cards at MSRP probably won't wait most of the time because they already have $1,000 plus to buy these cards anyway, except for those who really stretch their budget. Thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more. Peace.